in July is hard work, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of benefits to it. I catch myself because sometimes I'll get down. I'm like, gosh, this is like really hard. Like, and then I think about, I used to be a farmer. I was an agricultural worker for almost 8 years. And I think, that's hard work. Picking vegetables all day, like people who work in, factories, like that's hard work.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's hard elements of it. But yeah, the promotion, fortunately, I've been able to back off from a lot of that. Kip, my co-director for COWSPIRACY and What the Health, he did a lot of the promotion because he's the face of the film and I get to be behind the scenes. Running for Good, we did some promotion, and Fiona, again, is the face of that film. So, and then Hungry for Justice, a new film, John Lewis, my co-director, he's going to be the face of it. So I get to take a back seat.
You're really like, will we ever see a Keegan is the face of the film?
I played with the idea very briefly because I thought, I know about this subject and I could be the face of it. But now I'm way more comfortable behind the scenes. So
yeah, it's kind of like, that's really kind of where you sit, right? Isn't it? Like that's how, also knowing you and your personality, it kind of feels like, even though I would love to see It's All About Keegan movie, I'll be all for it. So will Miguel. So will Sparky. If it ever happens, we'll be. Yeah. We're your biggest fans. We're your biggest fans. So
thanks.
It would be really cool. No, but I'm really looking forward. Also, what you just said about hip hop and music, I think is so interesting because I really love hip hop, and I really agree with you that there is such strong messages, and that you can reach so many young kids as well with music. I think it's such it's such an amazing, because how is that going? Like, is that also, are you also there on a tight budget? Do you also need to make this movie fast? Like, how is that going for you now?
Yes, I'm really fortunate that the budget has been able to grow. The success of my films has made it easier to fund films. So this film is the biggest budget I've ever worked on, but we had like a crew of 7 people working on the film. And after 6 months of shooting, we went down to just John and I. Like, it's just the two of us. Because I find that that's the easiest way to work. It's the cheapest way to work. And, if we can save money, we're going to save money everywhere we can. I wanted to have this film done. But unfortunately, family circumstances prevented me from working on the film for almost 5 months this year. And so we're behind schedule. But we should have it done really soon. Hopefully, my hope is to have it out late spring 2020, but it could be summer or fall. We'll see. And yeah, again, the biggest struggle with making this film is getting access to artists. You have A-list artists who are vegan or talking about veganism or talking about plant-based diet or whatever it is, but they all have gatekeepers and managers and assistants that you have to get through. And so that's the biggest challenge making this film for sure. Yeah. But it's shaping up to be really,
you're not going to have Leo ring them all?
Yeah, I know, right? I wish.
Only you could just get Leo to ring them all. No, and they have schedules too, of course, right? Like when you have to get everybody in, I would say that would be,
it's a bit challenge. But nonetheless, the film we've shot over 100 interviews. It is a massive, massive film, and it's everything too. Where it's not just, it's not just like food deserts, which is a lot of people are aware of in the United States. People don't have access to healthy foods, but it's, why are there food deserts? What's the role that pharmaceutical plays into it? What is the role of environmental racism? You have communities of color who have factory farms put in their communities because these industries realize that these people are disenfranchised or underrepresented in government, so they don't have the same sort of voice and therefore don't have the same sort of power or aren't given the same sort of power. And so we're dealing with those aspects. We're dealing with, everything in comparisons to, the media focuses on gun violence in inner cities and low-income communities and ignores the health crisis when, 10 to 100 times more people are dying from preventable diseases than they are from gun violence or just violence in general.
Yeah.
And yet the media doesn't talk about that. And then you just look, well, who's funding the media? It's like, who's paying for the advertisements? Oh, it's all fast food and pharmaceuticals. So how could they possibly talk about it? So it's just that importance. And again, this film goes so deep. COWSPIRACY is an investigative film. What the Hell's an investigative film? This film goes really deep. And the 5 months that I wasn't working on the film actively shooting, I was doing research, and we've uncovered just some really powerful and really damning information. So it's going to be a film that shakes people up.
Yeah. Wow. And then you're working with John. Like, is that a really different dynamic than what you were doing with Kip? Like when you are working together, is it very different?
You know, it's interesting. There's a lot of similarities. John and I get along really well. I'd say John's one of my best friends. We have such different backgrounds and yet find commonality in so many different things. John's also a super creative guy, and so it's that balance of, you know, having creative ideas and looking at things, but you know, this is John's first film, and so he's very, you know, upfront about that. Like, hey, this is my first time directing, so he's totally open to learning and utilizing my experiences. So it's been a really great process. Again,
cool.
I feel super fortunate to be able to work with both these guys.
And did you just know John from Instagram, or were you guys already friends before doing this project, or?
We met years ago, probably 3-4 years ago, at a green festival. John was speaking at a festival that I was speaking at, and we just started talking. He came over to the COWSPIRACY booth, and I was like, "Oh, badass vegan." He's like, "Oh, you know who I am?" I was like, "Yeah, there you are." And so we started talking, and then like 6 months later, we were at another green event, and I asked him, I said, "Hey, you have a minute? I'd like to talk about films." And we were talking about films, and I was looking for I actually wanted him to get involved in Running for Good. And then I was telling him about some other ideas, and we were just talking about like our love for hip hop. John's a huge hip hop head. And we started talking about this idea about doing like a vegan hip hop documentary. And from that, it evolved into something so much bigger than just vegan hip hop. I mean, it's a massive, massive film.
So cool.
Yeah, super fortunate. But it took us 2 years from the first time we started talking about it to get funding, and then been shooting for 2 years. So.
Yeah. Wow. And do you think you'll be like making movies forever? Is this something that you want to keep doing for another 8, 10, 20, 30 years? Or like, how do you see that?
That's a great question. After every time I finish a film, I say I'm never doing this again. But I'm done. I've already started another film. So it's like when we were making What the Health, I started shooting Running for Good before we were even done. And then before I even finished Running for Good, I started shooting Hungry for Justice. It does take a lot out of me. And so I don't know how long I will make films. I don't think I'll continue to make films in the way I have been, because I don't know that it's sustainable. You know, we talk about sustainability, and we have to think about sustainability for ourselves as well. But yeah, I think I will be involved in films in one way or another forever, because they're an incredible tool for influencing change and bringing about a more compassionate world.
Yeah, totally. And do you feel that, like, you know, you've made like so many movies now, and like, have you seen yourself also change and develop and grow, and like, are things different now when you do a movie now? Is it different than when you started making movies? Yeah,
definitely. I'm way less stressed out. When I first started making films, I was so stressed about every shoot, because you know, you just don't know, and then once you learn, you go, oh, okay, like I can relax a little bit, like I don't have to stress about this, and the anxiety can go away. I'm still super stressed about managing projects, but it's gotten easier for sure. And I've also learned to like let go and let other people help me. So I had an incredible composer, Jason Camiolo, who did the score for Running for Good, which I've always done my own scores. So the thought of like handing that over felt really intimidating, but it was amazing to work with somebody who was way more talented than me as a musician. I did most of the animations for my films, and then working with animators was awesome. So I've learned to let go and share and be more collaborative, and that's made my life so much easier. Yeah.
So that's also really what you've seen change for yourself then, right? And do you have like a coach or a guide or a teacher or someone that like when you have raw materials that you show that to them, or is that really depending on who you're working with at the time?
Yeah, it really depends on who I'm working with at the time. I have some people. I have an executive producer who's been involved in all of my films other than Turlock, my first film, Greg Anzalone, and he's an amazing guy. He's a good friend, and I share every project with him, and I bounce ideas off him. He's one of the producers of the Rich Roll podcast. He's just an incredible person.
Cool.
And then my partner, Shani, she hears all of my ideas, and she's a good benchmark of whether it's good or not. And I just bounce ideas off people. And so like Kip, Anderson, my co-director, COWSPIRACY, what the hell? He gets to hear all my ideas, and Kip's awesome because he'll shoot something down. Yeah. He's like unafraid to be like, "No, it's a bad idea." Oh, all right, well, Kip thinks it's a bad idea. Maybe it's not the best idea. Or he'll say, "Yeah, that's a cool idea for a short film." He's like, I don't know, see that as a feature. So
yeah. And it's good to have these people. I'm sure people are, especially when they close to you, like your wife or Kip or people that you work so closely with. They can be honest as well, like, and they should be. I think it's it's so good because are you someone who has like always hundreds of ideas and like you're in a movie and then you already see 5 other movies happening is that who you are?
Totally, 100%. I'm Shannon, my partner, was just saying that to me. She goes, "I think you need to just choose one thing." Because I was like, "I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I think I'll do this."
Yeah.
So I tend to be all over the place, and I usually have multiple projects and things that are just totally unrelated to. Like I have a camera accessory company, I have a sculpture company, I have a t-shirt company, I have a film company. Yeah. Like I have all these different things that I do that are totally unrelated to each other too, while also doing multiple projects within each one of those. So it's kind of how my brain works.
Yeah, but I guess it's good and bad, isn't it? Because it's bringing you, I think, everything you're doing, because it's coming from like that mind of creativity. But then, it can also be a bit overwhelming, I guess.
Yeah. It's a beautiful curse of just that incessant creativity. I'm very fortunate for it, and I'm very grateful for it. But I also only sleep like 4 hours a night, and you can see the bags under my eyes right now because. Yeah, I just don't sleep because I'm doing too much and thinking about too much. Yeah. I think you live with somebody who's like that.
Yeah. Well, yes, for sure. I do. 5 years. I know.
Yeah.
I know. 5 long years. No, but I mean, I also feel with you because I think it's also important to let go and it's even when you're amongst of everything and you're doing so many things, I think it's important. It's definitely important to sleep, Keegan.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, yoga's helped a lot with that.
Yeah,
so I do yoga every day. That's been a life changer.
Yeah, that's really good. And just for a side note, Kip is also a Jivamukti yoga teacher, and
it's true.
It's very cool to for some of the listeners who know that I am, and I just actually interviewed another Jivamukti yoga teacher for the podcast too. So it's pretty cool. It's really, I think yoga can be, a very strong tool for many people. With whatever in all kinds of whatever they do in their life. Like I think it can make you just a bit more down to earth and in the earth, and that's very good. Well, one last question I'd like to ask Keegan. I was just asking Jess as well because we are recording this right now just before the new year is coming and the last year is ending. Do you have like a big wish for yourself and the world for 2020, if you had any?
I mean, my perpetual wish for the world is for peace and compassion and understanding and consciousness. But on a personal level, probably the same. I want more peace and compassion.
I do want peace. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm focusing on really taking care of myself. I've let myself eat poorly, even as a vegan, even as like more whole foods vegan. I've just kind of let myself go in that respect. So going back to eating cleaner, like an SOS, no salt, oil, or sugar added to my diet, growing more food again, and just being outside, connecting with the earth. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to.
That's really good. And I'm really glad you're saying this because it's such an important thing. And especially lots of people know you, lots of people know your work. And it's good to hear you say these things. It is extremely important to look after yourself and be good to yourself. Because, we all want Keegan to make a lot more movies and get really old and gray and grumpy one day.
Hey, I'm getting old and gray and grumpy already.
As it is. I just turned 40, so I know what you're feeling. I know what you're talking about. Keegan, thank you so very, very, very much for taking the time. And I'll make sure that, people can find you because, all the different projects that you do, but, also some links to your movies and to Fiona and, make sure that people can, and listen to your music. We'll put it all in the notes on this podcast. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you to all the listeners. So this was Keegan in my Vegan Hero series. And remember to be good to yourself, to be good to others, especially the animals. Bye!